Hello and welcome to the Disenfranchised Podcast, that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I'm one of your hosts, Tucker. This week, due to some scheduling difficulties, we will be reaching all the way back to episode 26 of the show where Stephen and Brett discuss 2018's retro arcade adaptation, Rampage, I believe is how it's pronounced. Brett suggested we rerun this episode in honor of the release of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, or FNAF 2, as the kids call it, because in his words, quote, "It's based on a video game where animals kill people. Close enough?" End quote. This episode was way before my time as a regular host, even before my first guest appearance. I haven't seen this film, but maybe one day I will. But probably not. But who knows? But definitely not. But there's still a chance, but not much of one. We'll be back next week with a shiny new episode. Until then, courage. Okay, love you, bye.
Hello and welcome to Disenfranchised, the only podcast bold enough to say, hey, that was supposed to be a franchise, but wasn't. That's right. We're a couple of guys talking about those franchises of one that had those lofty aspirations to be something much bigger, but ultimately fell flat. And much bigger is the watchword this month, Brett. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Foxworthy, and that guy I just mentioned, who is strapping a giant gun and taking aim at a giant lizard creature. Well, that's my good friend and co-host, Brett Wright. Hey, Brett.
Hi, Stephen.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going all right, man. It's Valentine's Day as we record this.
It is, and love is in the air.
Indeed, in giant monster style.
That's because in the month of March, as kind of a prelude to a movie being released in theaters later this month, in theaters and on HBO Max. Watch it on HBO Max, please. Godzilla versus Kong. We have decided to cover a month of kaiju-related failed franchise starters.
Yeah, it is Monster March Madness, everybody.
Monster March Madness, if you will. So it's our third theme month that we've ever done, following our October Spooky-thon and our Disney Plus December. So this is Monster March Madness. So here we go. And what movie are we starting with? Brett, what movie is kicking off Monster March Madness?
We're going to start with Rampage.
Rampage, the 2018 Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson vehicle, directed by one Brad Payton, also starring Academy Award nominee Naomi Harris, Malin Ackerman, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Jake Lacey, Joe Manganiello, Marley Shelton, and P.J. Byrne, he of Final Destination 5 fame. This movie came out in 2018, is the third collaboration between star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and director Brad Payton, following Journey 2, The Mysterious Island, and San Andreas. So this is the third time they've worked together. This is only, however, the second time that we have talked about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, though, Brett.
Yeah, we haven't talked about him since Baywatch.
Episode 3, for those of you who want to check out an episode that for a movie I was not a fan of.
I mean, I wasn't either. There were things I liked about it, but I ultimately wasn't either.
I think you liked it a little more than I did.
I mean, yeah, I did, but not much.
Fair enough.
But this definitely liked this one significantly more.
Okay. I liked it a little bit more. But two very similar things. You've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson taking on an established IP, an established property, and trying to turn it into a big franchise. I think it may be a little too early to say this will never get a sequel, but I think if it were going to get a sequel, we'd have heard something about it by now. This came out 2 years ago. Usually, if they're keen to kick off a franchise, they will have announced something within the last couple of years. So
you would think so, but hey, it's another video game failed franchise. Surprise. If you're not Resident Evil, apparently you don't get a video game franchise.
I mean, there are some that have lasted 1 or 2 movies, but Resident Evil, that there are 6 movies in that franchise is kind of incredible.
That's an understatement.
I was doing some research for another project the other day and looking at the tomatometer scores for the Resident Evil movies. I don't think any of those are certified fresh. And the highest ranked one is the last one. So,
I think there's a lot to be said about something Mike mentioned on our My Bloody Valentine episode. People go to movies like that to shut their brain off and not really care. They go for the gore or they go for specific reasons. They don't go because they think they're going to be good. So those movies make a lot of money because people just want to see dumb, stupid action with hot Mary Sue in the lead.
yeah. And I mean, there's certainly a place for that. People like escapism. Some people just find bad movies kind of charming. When I was in college, we had a bad movie Tuesday where every Tuesday, we'd get together in someone's dorm room and just watch bad movies.
Yeah, we were.
Them.
The wife and I actually, had it been available, for some reason, Monster Hunter is still not available to watch on demand.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It's weird, but yeah, we were actually going to watch Monster Hunter for Valentine's Day just because it's a dumb, stupid movie.
Yeah, and you know what? It fits our theme month, so hey.
Yeah, but it wasn't, so we watched Jennifer's Body instead,
which is great. Jennifer's Body is fantastic.
It is very good. This was our first time watching it. We wanted to find out about all the hype recently about it. Yeah, great movie. Fantastic.
I watched it for my Halloween marathon last year, and it was better than I expected it to be, for sure. And I went in, I wouldn't say I went in with like the highest of hopes, but I was excited for it, and it lived up. So yeah, Jennifer's Body, good. Speaking of dumb action movies that make you want to turn your brain off, Rampage 2018 is the movie that we're here to discuss today.
Way to bring it around. Good segue, buddy.
Hey, I found my foothold and I went with it. Tagline for this movie, Brett. Are you looking at the poster right now? Do you want to take a guess as to what the tagline of this movie might be?
No, I actually don't know what it is.
It's big meets bigger.
Oh,
because The Rock is big, you see.
Sure.
But George the Gorilla, you see, he's bigger. So
right.
Ta-da!
Right.
Brilliant. I want to shake the hands of the marketing geniuses that came up with this one, because they are gold.
Well, hold on. Okay, so hold on a minute, Steven. Before we go any further, when you listed off the cast, I can't help but notice.
Yes,
you left off Baby Huey himself, Jack Quaid.
You know what? I did. I also left off, to my detriment, Demetrius Gross as well. So you're right. I did leave off Wee Huey. I left off Demetrius Gross. My apologies to both. But Jack Quaid, of course, you know him and love him from The Boys. But he is also the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. So Hollywood royalty kind of in the background of this movie a little bit.
Yeah, it was cool to see because, it's when I originally saw this movie, The Boys weren't a thing yet. So I didn't know who he was. So I watched it this time and it's full on Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just pointing at the screen. I know that guy.
You've probably seen him in some other things before. He's in a couple of the Hunger Games movies. He plays Marvel in the Hunger Games franchise. He's also in the movie Logan Lucky, which is a movie I love. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but he plays Fishbang in Logan Lucky. Which, if you've not seen Logan Lucky, you need to watch Logan Lucky. It's pretty great.
I have never seen it. But
it's a Steven Soderbergh movie. So it's the guy who directed Ocean's 11, directing a heist movie that takes place pulled off by rednecks at a NASCAR park. So it's Ocean's 7-Eleven, which is a joke they make in the movie. That's not me being clever. Like, the movie makes that joke, but it's Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, and in one of the earliest of his Daniel Craig really likes to do weird voices, kind of run. Daniel Craig doing a weird voice. Which, I mean, if you see Logan Lucky before you see Knives Out, really preps you for what he's doing in Knives Out. I know you've already seen Knives Out, but haven't seen Logan Lucky. So it'll come as less of a surprise to you when you hear what he's doing in that movie. But it's so weird. He got the introducing credit in the trailer.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's also got like Hilary Swank. It's got Seth MacFarlane. Like, it's got a really, really good cast. And before he was a star, Jack Quaid. So
neat.
Yeah. I just think it's neat.
I just think it's neat.
I just think it's neat. So let's start actually before we get into the meat of this movie. Let's actually talk about first of all about our experience with kaiju. Since this is a month of kaiju, we kind of need to start with what our levels of familiarity are when it comes to kaiju. So, Brett, what is this a genre you particularly like? What was your first foothold into this genre? Give us a little bit of your background.
This is definitely a genre I like. Would probably say love. I'm not very knowledgeable in it, just because most of it is foreign films, and I have only recently, maybe in the past 5-ish years, decided to stop being a stupid American and watch more foreign films. So
Opening yourself up to the wide world around you there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good foreign films out there.
For sure.
So yeah, I got started with Godzilla, like you do.
Very good place to start. Now, when you say started with Godzilla, which incarnation of Godzilla are we talking? Like, are we talking 1954 Godzilla? Are we talking like the original era, one of the subsequent eras of Godzilla films? Are we talking the 1998 Godzilla?
Now, unfortunately, as much as I hate to admit this, my first Godzilla movie probably was the 1998 Godzilla.
I mean, same. I'm not even going to pretend like it wasn't. Stay tuned, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one later.
Yep.
But luckily, I've rectified that terrible, terrible mistake. I've seen the original Godzilla multiple times. Even saw the Criterion version at an IMAX theater once. That was fantastic.
Beautiful. I own the Criterion version. It's on that giant shelf of DVDs behind me.
Nice. Yeah, we recently purchased like all of the like original era.
The Showa era.
The Showa era, yeah, the Showa era collection. That is on my DVD shelf, which is off camera to my right over here. So yeah, big Godzilla fans. I like Pacific Rim. I like those movies. Those are good.
I've seen the first one. I have not seen the second. I love Guillermo del Toro. So
yeah, I haven't seen the second one either. Surprisingly enough, I don't really know why. I think because I heard it wasn't good, so I didn't.
I mean, that's why I didn't see it.
and also because like the first one ends pretty definitively and didn't need a sequel. So I was like,
it really didn't.
Why is there a sequel?
The only thing I wanted after I watched that is an entire series, like a TV series of Charlie Day's character and Ron Perlman's character, like getting into hijinks. That was what I wanted after that movie was over.
And just occasionally more Idris Elba.
Yeah, he dies at the end, but sure, yeah,
whatever.
Give spoilers for a movie that's old.
Give us a prequel series. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, but I love the dynamic between Ron Perlman and Charlie Day. I just thought that was hilarious. I would subscribe to whatever streaming service had the rights to that show. 100%.
Yeah. So, and then, I can't talk about kaiju and then not mention Power Rangers.
Formative for kids our age, for sure.
Yeah. Or, if you're more of a nerd, Super Sentai from Japan.
Or Voltron. I mean, I was passingly familiar with Voltron by the time Power Rangers came out, at least.
Yeah. So was I. But I always felt like it was kind of like a Pokemon Digimon thing, where if you liked one, you hated the other one. So
I liked both. I did not like both equally. I was definitely more of a Power Rangers fan because they really worked on shoving that down kids' throats when we were younger. But, I didn't dislike Voltron.
No, I mainly just thought it was a Power Rangers ripoff, if I'm honest. But other than that, and I mean, of course, I played the original Rampage video game that this movie's based on.
Which we'll get to here in a second, because we definitely we're going to want comparisons. This episode is just one extended stay in Brett's video game corner, really.
Hell yeah, brother.
And I know you are here for it, as the kids would say. For me, kaiju, my introduction to kaiju, honestly, was a bank that my grandparents owned from the 1970s, the late 70s remake of King Kong. There was a plastic bank that my grandparents had bought when the movie had come out. and they kept it in a giant toy chest that they had at their house, and I would play with it when I would go up to visit them. And I thought it was the coolest thing because it's King Kong, and he's sitting on top of a building, and he's got like a train, like he's holding a length of train in his hands, much like he does in that movie, because it's a different city, and so he's doing different stuff than he did in the original. They're also showing off the technology a lot more. But he's just snarling, and it looked really cool. Actually, when my grandmother passed away last year, I asked my mom, see if you can find that King Kong bank, and she could not. So I'm assuming one of my uncles got a hold of it, and I will never see it again. So
that's unfortunate. Isn't that also the scene that they use for the Universal Studios ride?
It is. And I eventually, when I went to Orlando as a child, we went to Universal Studios, and I got to ride the King Kong ride, which was the one ride there I was really looking forward to. And you know what? It was great. It was really cool. King Kong twice attacks the car that you're in. And it's kind of like a Jungle Cruise thing. Like there's a cast member with like a walkie-talkie, like he's driving the train, and then, oh no, it's King Kong. Ah. And I don't know, it was goofy and stupid and fun, but I kind of loved it. So
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I don't even know if that ride is still there. I can probably Google it here real quick. But no, so King Kong is my introduction to kaiju. Probably my favorite kaiju, despite all the unpleasantness surrounding King Kong, which we'll get into in a future episode, I'm sure. But then I saw in 98, I saw Godzilla mainly because of the Taco Bell commercials, and then thought that movie was dumb enough that I kind of just pushed kaiju out of my brain. Didn't see Pacific Rim until years after it had been out. And then a couple years ago, watched Godzilla for the first time and was kind of like, okay, kaiju, interesting. The birth of the modern kaiju, of course, is Godzilla, created based on the fears of Japan post World War II. The looming threat of nuclear disaster is what Godzilla represents. That early film is a very serious film, and as the series goes on, it gets kind of campier and campier. Shin Godzilla, which I watched for an old podcast that I'd done called Rule of Thirds, is absolutely brilliant. That's breathtaking. Bong Joon-ho's The Host is really good. Just throwing out some of my favorite kaiju movies now. Pacific Rim, which I have since seen, is also very good. Like there's a lot of really good kaiju movies out there, but it's kind of separating the wheat from the chaff and finding, the stuff that you like versus the stuff that you don't, because there's a lot of giant monster movies out there, believe it or not. So you got to find the stuff that speaks to you. So all that brings us to the movie Rampage, which is the movie that we're talking about today, which is based, as we've mentioned, on a video game. And since Brett, you are our resident video game expert, first of all, I'll just say, since mine will be really short, my familiarity with Rampage begins and ends at an arcade that I went to when I was younger, and saw like the arcade cabinet there. I don't think I actually played it, but just kind of watched the gameplay as it scrolls through when no one's playing the game, and thought it looked kind of weird. So yeah, there you go. Brett, take it away. What's your familiarity with Rampage? What can you tell us about the property, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you wouldn't really recognize that because you didn't get into kaiju until 1998, and this game a little bit older than that.
Right, 86, yes.
86 was the first Rampage. I mean, it was ported to Nintendo systems after that, which is where I played it most of the time.
Makes sense.
It's a game that doesn't. By the way, welcome back to Brett's Video Game Corner.
We're gonna camp out here for a while, folks.
We're gonna be here for a bit. So it's a game that doesn't have an ending. It basically just replays the same stage. It'll give you the name of a city, which city you're in, but all the cities look the same.
Yeah, because all cities do look the same, basically.
More or less.
That's what Hollywood wants us to believe.
Yeah, and the difficulty increases over time, but there's 100 stages, and once you beat all 100 stages, you beat the game, quote unquote. I managed to do that on my original Nintendo. It was one of the first games I ever beat.
Wow.
Yeah. The kid me was way better at video games than adult me, let me tell you.
Kid, you probably had a lot more free time on his hands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, and my go-to, because in the original, it's weird. So in the arcades, you could play as George, Ralph, or Lizzie. But when they ported it to the Nintendo system, they cut Ralph for some reason. So you can only play as Lizzie or George in the original in the Nintendo version.
Is it because is so that 2-player mode could be enabled and they didn't want to give people a third option?
I would assume so.
Okay.
I think that's probably the reason. They rectified that, though, when they rebooted the franchise in 97 for Rampage World Tour, which I believe was mainly for the Nintendo 64.
They added some new characters for that one, didn't they?
That did not happen until Rampage 2 Universal Tour in 1999.
Gotcha.
That's when they added, who I'm assuming gets a little bit, he might be a sequel hook even, the Rat.
The sequel hook is at the beginning of the movie, weirdly, in this one, yes.
Well, I mean, and there's also the pet rat that is being very heavily protected for seemingly no reason.
Right. Why that rat is being protected, I have no idea. But the director, Brad Payton, has said that if he is able to make the sequel, the rat will be named Larry. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because he's named Curtis in the first sequel.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know why he said Larry, but that was something I saw here on Wikipedia. And, Wikipedia will never lie.
Yeah, because the Universal Tour, when they decided to take it all over the world and destroy different cities all over the world instead of just America, you had...
Take that, everyone else.
You had Boris the rhinoceros, Curtis the mouse, and Ruby the lobster.
Okay, so I'm reading here that apparently Larry was from the Atari Lynx port of the original game.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense. There's a lot of different Rampages. Because they tried to reboot it, and like I said, like the port to Nintendo cut Ralph, so it's just a lot of different iterations and different things, characters getting cut and added, blah blah blah. Because even something I didn't know until doing research for this episode is, Dave & Buster's, who gets a big product placement in this movie. They actually made a brand new Rampage that tried to reboot the video game franchise along with this movie, and they made it just for Dave & Buster stores.
No wonder I didn't know anything about it.
So, it follows the story of the movies now. So, like, George is an albino gorilla, and all the monsters look like they do in the movie, but it's still the same gameplay. It's still those 3 monsters destroying a city. And
that is essentially, to be clear, that is the gameplay. Like, you're fighting other monsters, you're destroying skyscrapers, you're eating people.
Yeah, and the military is trying to stop you.
Okay.
Yep, that's all. You'll be attacked by tanks and helicopters and bombs dropped on you, all sorts of things. But you're destroying buildings, you're eating people, etc., etc. And that's pretty much the video games, because that's really all there is. That's why I've always said that this is maybe one of the best video game adaptations, because the video game is so bare bones and doesn't have much of a story to begin with.
Sure. And I'll get into my feelings about adapting properties like that, but we can save that for after we address the movie itself, the movie proper, which I assume we're ready to do.
Yeah, I think so. Because I'll talk about the story as it is in the video games, because there's really only one major difference when we get into that later. So, yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, then let's do the plot in 60 seconds, which is, of course, that part of the show when one of us, Brett or myself, at the behest of the mighty Coin of Justice, our friend and foe, in equal measure, will confer upon us the ability to give the plot of this film in 60 seconds or less, or your podcast is free. I will pull up the Coin of Justice here because I have not done so yet. Brett, will you call the Coin of Justice in the air?
Tails.
And it is tails.
Hey.
Damn it.
We're back, baby.
Which means it is time for me to give the plot of this film, Rampage from 2018, in 60 seconds or less. So, Brett, will you put 60 seconds on the clock?
I will absolutely do that. Done. Are you ready, sir?
When you are, sir.
And your time starts right this minute.
There's a lab in outer space doing experiments on animals, and some of this mutagen gets out and it attaches to a rat who gets really big and destroys the thing. This mutagen falls to the earth and hits different animals. One hits a wolf in the Everglades, another hits a crocodile in the Everglades, a wolf in the other part of the country, and then it hits a gorilla that the Rock is looking after, and Rock does sign language with the gorilla, and they start getting big because it's genetic mutation.
30 seconds.
And he meets this doctor who is a part of this group, and the group is evil. It's Malin Ackerman and Jake Lacey, and they're evil brother and sister, and there's some plot that they're trying to cover up. Negan's there, and he's a government guy who works for some shady organization, and he and The Rock and Naomi Harris all team up, and they go to Chicago.
10 seconds.
And the monsters are destroying the city, and eventually George becomes good again and helps The Rock beat the other two monsters. The end.
Spot on, sir. Right as timer expired.
Deep bow. There's not a lot to this movie. I also left out that there's like bombs on their way for like a half an hour in this movie, because apparently if there's monsters attacking a major American city, it takes a half an hour to deploy bombs.
Depends on where they're being deployed from. They were headed to Chicago. Maybe they were being deployed from DC. Who knows?
I don't know.
They don't say from where.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh no, the mother of all bombs is on the way. We got to move. And then like 20 minutes later, we're still fighting monsters. Okay. And then, okay, we're 2 minutes away. 5 minutes later, abort mission. Okay. All right. This is one of those time has no meaning situations. Got it.
Look, it's a movie trope. I'm not going to get mad about it.
I mean, it's fine. Here's the thing. It's very much par for the course for the movie that we're watching.
Okay. We don't gotta tear the movie down. There's stuff to not like about this movie, but let's not get nitpicky about it.
I'm just saying.
All right.
This is a switch your brain off kind of movie, and I have a hard time switching my brain off.
Lord, don't I know it?
Much to your constant shame and chagrin, I'm sure. So I don't know. So the basic plot of the video game then is what, Brett? Now that we've gone through the plot of the movie.
That you're some humans who were experimented on and turned into giant kaiju.
Okay. Versus in this movie where it's this mutagen pathogens thing, this genetic soup that fuses your DNA with all these other animal DNAs and makes you giant.
So there's a little bit of science here. Which let me touch on that really quick. I'll just give a brief synopsis.
We're talking real science, or are we talking movie science?
Well, so this is real science.
Okay.
The movie takes liberties with the real science.
I can't imagine. Okay, go ahead.
So it's really fascinating. I actually knew a little bit about this beforehand. So it's called CRISPR, which is short for clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. So it refers to like the system for like bacterial immunity. And then that inspired a breakthrough in gene editing technology, which made it possible to edit genetic code of individual cells to fix genetic mutations or replace damaged genes. But the problem is it's capable of editing individual strands of DNA, but not entire organisms or even whole organs.
Okay.
So the stuff that it's doing in the movie is not something that CRISPR could do.
I figured that.
Yeah. So, you'd have to like edit each individual cell one at a time, and ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay.
But then, the movie hand waves it away. It's like, we figured it out. We figured out how to fix that. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We hacked it. We went in through the back door.
Yeah. But the little blurb at the beginning of the movie is fairly accurate. In 2016, right, is what it says, is that's when the government was like, yeah, no, this could get out of hand. And it's not really worth the trouble. So let's just put a kibosh on that.
We're just going to kibosh that whole thing.
Yeah.
Brett, and maybe I missed this, but what were the bad guys trying to accomplish here?
The only thing I could figure out is they were trying to sell their research to the military for money. Maybe. Okay. Maybe that's what they were doing.
Because here's the thing. It's almost impossible to tell. And I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, the villains in this movie are definitely the least fleshed out and the most confusing and the most boring characters. And the brother is named Brett, and I'm pissed off about it.
You got Malin Ackerman, who's another one of those actresses who I don't know has ever quite gotten. I don't think Hollywood really knows entirely what to do with her, but not this, I guess, would be my assessment on this movie. Not this, because I think she's. I mean, if she were able to chew scenery a little better, then I think that would be probably a better fit. Like go a little bigger, but she's playing it very straight. And I mean, with like tinges of menace, but not. I need more menace. And then, of course, Jake Lacey, who I know from The American Office, like the last season of The American Office, which my wife is a big fan of. He's just kind of, I don't know. They don't really give either of these villains much to work with. In fact, if you're not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you don't get much to do in this movie, really.
Or I mean, if you're Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you sure do. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character in this movie.
I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan takes what he's given and figures out a way to make a meal out of it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love every second he's on screen.
But I don't think there's a lot there on the page. I don't think there's much to that character. And that's asking a lot of an actor, and not every actor is able to step up. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, pretty good actor. He and Malin Ackerman, by the way, both in the Zack Snyder masterpiece, he said sarcastically, Watchmen. So, you know, there's that superhero connection. And of course, you've got Wee Huey from The Boys, Jack Quaid. So you've got a few superhero adjacent actors in this film. And of course, The Rock, human superhero, but tapped for the movie, the Shazam sequel, the Black Adam movie.
Black Adam, yeah.
And of course, Joe Manganiello, who is Deathstroke.
And very prolific celebrity D&D player.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Also, an actor who was completely wasted in this movie.
I was so surprised. I mean, I think he's another situation where I didn't know him that well when I originally saw this movie.
Sure.
So when I see him this time, and it's like he's dead right away,
almost immediately. And another Marley Shelton, dead instantly. Like she's dead before the first scene is over. I mean, you're just like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for showing up, Marley, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like, you know, the weird cameos we've seen in like Alita and whatnot. You're like, oh, this is just a weird cameo because they're going to show up later. No, these weird cameos just died.
Yeah, they kill them off, and I don't know. I'm assuming that maybe they've worked with the director, Brad Payton, on things before. Maybe that's why they're in this movie, or maybe their careers, maybe Joe Manganiello's career wasn't going as well as we thought. And I don't know. It's been a while since anyone's heard a lot of anything from Marley Shelton, I suppose. So
yeah, it's very possible.
But that feels very much like we're someone doing a favor for the director kind of a role, I suppose. So I'm just going to chalk it up to that. Like they were just doing a favor to Brad Payton. But yeah, you see, you're like, man, this cast is stacked, and then they're all dead, and you're like, oh, okay, sure. Why not?
We just got The Rock carrying the movie.
And let's be honest, what more do you need than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Like, you can't deny the man's charisma, and you can't deny his ability to carry an action movie. Mm-hmm. Emphasis on the action movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess I get it. You know, it's fine. He's fun to watch.
The thing I find, and I think I brought this up in the Baywatch episode, and this comes out the year after Baywatch, is just the fact that his character needs to be the one who's always right. He needs to be the one who's the biggest, the baddest, the funniest. And I find that very wearying, honestly. Like, because it's, you know, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's the one that eventually comes, oh, well, that guy had it all right. Yeah. And of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays that very well because he's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But, you know, that's The Rock's whole thing now is versus like the first couple movies I saw him in where he was the Scorpion King or Hobbs in Fast Five. He's more or less the villain of the piece, which he plays a really good villain. And I kind of wish he would do that again, but he's The Rock now. He's like this larger than life figure who's kind of crafted his own mythos around him. Like there's a sitcom coming out about his life. Like that's a thing that's happening. Like he has mythologized himself to that degree that I don't think we can ever get that back.
No, probably not. He's a bit of a throwback to 80s action stars. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, that like they needed that's who they were. They did the same thing. They had to always be right. They had to always be the most badass character in the movie. So
But
it's a
even
little
then, you see them kind of stumble and fall and trip, but The Rock never does any of that.
No, the Rock gets shot in this movie. Just straight up shot in the stomach. I don't really know where. You can't really tell. And then he just shakes it off. Like,
yeah, and you, after all the action of the movie is done, then you see him kind of remember, oh, right, I got shot earlier. I have to cover that spot with my hand, is what it feels like. Like he's just kind of walking around, not even like limping but just like his hands there, like, oh yeah, I got shot. Whereas he's been, throwing grenades and firing, guns the size of him without any problem whatsoever through the whole last half hour of the movie with this, presumably this wound in his side.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe adrenaline's a hell of a drug, but I don't know.
I don't know if it's that good of a drug is my thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, but the other thing I was going to say is he sort of gets away with being the person who's always right and trying to tell the experts, that they're wrong in this movie, because it's very much a kaiju trope, and it's sometimes even just a general like horror monster trope that like there's a guy that knows what's going on. He's the one person that could save everybody, and all the experts and the military personnel are like, whatever, I know what we're doing.
Right.
So he sort of gets away with it this time.
True. I don't know. I have so like that persona is so grafted onto him as an actor now that I mean, because that's ultimately what kind of ruined or created the fallout in the Fast and Furious franchise. Is he wanted to be that guy for that franchise, but that franchise already has Vin Diesel doing that exact same thing. And so the two of them ultimately ended up coming to blows over it, not literally, but it's kind of one of those too many egos in the room. So that's why you have Hobbs and Shaw at its own special spin-off franchise just for them, so that you can have Hobbs go be right in some other guy's franchise. And honestly, I didn't find that movie particularly compelling because I didn't find that character particularly compelling written that way. I liked him more as, the BA government guy who's going to go toe to toe with Vin Diesel, but not always have to be right about everything. Because again, that's what Dominic Toretto's for. And the franchise doesn't need two Dominic Torettos. It can only afford one.
Right. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen any of those movies.
I was going to say, I'm preaching to an audience that has no idea what I'm talking about. Hopefully someone out there knows, because I know you don't. But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately, I think becomes the problem for me with The Rock. So
yeah, which I forgive that more than anything, just because like, look, I grew up with him as The Rock,
which I have never been a professional wrestling guy since we lost Jake the Snake. I just haven't cared. I mean, since he retired is what.
Okay. I was like, he's not dead, right?
Right. No, of course I know he's not dead. Yeah, no, but
okay.
Like he retired early from my memory, and so he was my guy, and I was like, oh, I don't care.
Oh, that's fine. But I was a big Attitude Era guy, so I grew up with him as just he was an awesome character in wrestling. So I got that attachment to him, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's what I would chalk this up to. But I mean, I don't know. So I guess I forgive him more of that.
And here's the thing. That's a big portion of his fan base, or people that knew him in those days and continue to love him. Like that goodwill continues to this day. So I can't and won't really crap on that. It's just when all you know him from is his films.
Yeah, I could see how that's definitely different.
It's become a bit frustrating. Just again, I would rather see an actor try something new than see an actor just, oh, okay, well, it's The Rock in a movie, so I literally now know exactly what this movie is going to be. Some people take comfort in that, and that's honestly probably why he's the biggest star in the world right now. And maybe when that star starts to fade, we'll see him do some new and interesting stuff, and maybe then I'll change my tune. But for right now, I mean, he's the biggest thing in Hollywood right now. And so he can cash any check he wants and he'll get that opportunity. So honestly, I think the only thing keeping this sequel from being made would be if he didn't want to make it, because it did fare a good bit of business.
Yeah, which is why it's a little surprising that it didn't get a sequel. So I'm interested to hear what you've got in terms of box office and what they said about making a sequel.
So yeah, let's check the numbers here real quick. So we've got domestically, we're at over 100 million, $101 million at the domestic box office, an additional 27 million in the international box office. So 427.9 million worldwide is our gross. So quite a big grosser. In the United States, it opened at number 1 on April 13th, 2008. In second place was a movie that had been number 1 the week before. A pretty good spring horror, kind of a surprise. Speaking of The American Office, directed by John Krasinski, it's A Quiet Place, which I quite enjoyed. Saw that one in theaters.
Yeah, also very good. I did see this movie opening weekend, so I contributed to that opening weekend number 1.
Well, there you go. It grossed 35.7 million its opening weekend. Rampage did. In third place is another, it's a Blumhouse movie. It's Truth or Dare, which I just know from the really creepy faces that girl was making in the trailer. Literally all I know about that movie. In fourth place, down from number 2 the week before, and in its third weekend overall, is Ready Player One, directed by Saint Stephen himself. I've never seen it, and honestly, I don't have much of a desire to. The only thing I would be interested to see is the Gremlins, which I know are in there, but they're background, so I don't really care that much.
I got a lot of things to say about Ready Player One, and none of them are good.
All right. Well, now that there's a sequel that's been written, maybe we can cover the movie on this podcast one day. No, they'll probably end up making that sequel too. And then in number 5 is the movie Blockers, which is the movie with John Cena and Leslie Mann and Ike Barinholtz trying to keep their kids from having sex on prom night.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It's got the giant rooster in front of the word Blockers on the poster. So
right. Because you can't market. Yeah, you can't market a movie with that name, that word in the title.
Correct. Rounding out our top 10, we've got Black Panther, down from number 4 in its 9th week. Isle of Dogs, the Wes Anderson film, the Christian movie I Can Only Imagine. And number 9 is Acrimony, and then number 10 is the Chappaquiddick, which I think is a Ted what's his name, Ted Kennedy biopic about the Chappaquiddick incident that kind of scandalized him for a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's at this point, there's not a lot of like big box office movies at this point in the year, usually, which is kind of weird that this opened mid-April as opposed to late April, early May, which is when blockbuster season starts these days. So I think they're just trying to get a head start on the summer blockbuster season. I mean, you've even got Black Panther as a holdover from February, kind of still hanging out in the top 10. Hanging out at number 6. Actually, it's grossed 674 million by this point, so it's doing quite well. And I didn't even see it until like the week before Infinity War came out, but I think Infinity War was getting ready to come out within the next couple of weeks. So I think Rampage is trying to get the jump on Infinity War by coming out at this slot. I mean, that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, the writing's on the wall, and in that sense, you want to get this movie out there before the MCU dominates the summer.
Absolutely, and which historically it will and does and has. So,
yeah. So,
this movie, the tomatometer score is 52% on this one. Rampage isn't the critics' consensus. Sorry, Rampage isn't as fun as its source material, but the movie's sheer button mashing abandon might satisfy audiences in the right mood for a brainless blockbuster. Audience score was much higher; 73% was the audience score. We've also got a Metacritic score of 45 based on 46 critic reviews. And the Letterboxd score is Letterboxd average is 2.5. Brett, how did you rate 2018's Rampage?
I've waffled back and forth, 3.5 or 3. I think I'm going to settle on 3. It's a lot of good dumb action. Is based on a video game. Which, by the way, I didn't mention. There's a Rampage arcade machine in the background of some scenes in the office, and I'm like, does the Rampage video game exist in this universe? And if so, is that why the evil brother and sister company named the whole project Rampage?
Potentially. I mean, that might be also why the quote unquote people on the internet named the Wolfman Ralph.
Possible.
Because that's
Very
what he
good
says. Is
point.
people on the internet are calling him Ralph. So, I mean, for all I know, that's the whole thing. So,
Yeah. So maybe it maybe gets even more of a pass for adapting the source material because it technically isn't.
yeah, and that's. I mean, I don't know. I have an issue with when you have a plot like the video game itself. The thing you're adapting is so completely bare bones that you can graft almost anything onto it. The adaptation seems, at least in my mind, to be almost incidental by nature, which I think this movie it is, because it's really only an adaptation of the video game within the last 45 minutes of the film. When they get to Chicago, everything in Chicago is straight up an adaptation of the video game, and everything before that is a lot of and there's an hour before that, just a lot of table setting and set dressing and getting us to that point. And then we get to Chicago, and then we get to see monsters tear stuff up, which is the whole reason that we're here. Actually, the reason that we're here is we want to see The Rock take on giant monsters. That's the reason we're here. And the thing I have to give this movie credit for, I didn't like this movie, like at all. 1.5 is my Letterboxd score. Did not like this movie. Thought it was really kind of dumb. And I thought the plot was more or less tacked on, like it becomes a reverse construction. Like, okay, what do we want to happen? We want giant monsters to just tear up a city. Okay, how do we get there? Well, we have to make it make sense. We have to have human characters to relate to. Because if we don't have human characters to relate to, then this is an exercise in futility. Another example of this is the movie Battleship, which it's a movie about naval battles. But then that movie, you've got sea monsters for some reason. Like, it becomes this whole other sci-fi thing because you've got to graft a story onto what is essentially just a game about naval battles. Like, just some adaptations, I think you're really reaching to try to make it work, to try to make it fit. And this feels very much to me like an example of trying to squish those things together and try to do something that really, I mean, at the end of the day, you just want to see the monsters tear stuff up. That's the reason to go to a kaiju movie for the most part, honestly. And I feel like there's not enough monsters tearing stuff up and too much people talking sciencey mumbo jumbo. You know, I give it an extra half star because, again, this movie has the stones to put The Rock, strap a giant gun to his side and, you know, just take aim and start shooting at a giant crocodile monster. And that's what I want to see. Like when the 2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla came out, I remember going, I want to see Heisenberg, Bryan Cranston, take on Godzilla. He doesn't. You know, you go to a movie like this, you want to see the main characters face off against the giant monster. And for all its flaws, this movie at least gave us that. That at least I thought was the gutsiest, ballsiest thing this movie did. Is it great? No. Is it good? No. But The Rock fights giant monsters, and I'm okay with that. So 1.5 stars from me.
I gotta almost disagree with you wholeheartedly here. I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised this is the opinion you have. Like, why did you want to see Bryan Cranston fight Godzilla? Like, there was no reason for that. It wouldn't have made sense, and it would have made that movie significantly worse. And the fact that The Rock fights kaiju in this movie was one of the most ridiculous things I've even seen. It was so stupid. He tries to fight it with a gun he knows isn't going to hurt it. So, like, why is he even doing this? Just because he's The Rock and he has to. Like,
on its face, this movie is completely ridiculous. I think you either want this movie to commit completely to the ridiculousness of it all, or you want this movie to take itself seriously. I don't think this movie really commits to a side, but when you have The Rock going out there shooting at monsters with a giant gun, I mean, you got the biggest action star in the world taking on a giant monster by himself. That's dumb, stupid fun. And that's what I want this movie ultimately to be. That's what I think this movie is trying to want to be. But I think that movie is that part is the only time we actually get there. Because by and large, these characters are not compelling. There's no reason I want to spend an hour and 45 minutes with these guys. They're kind of boring. But when The Rock straps a gun to himself, well, he just became a little more interesting.
Okay, well, I think that's maybe more a problem with the movie than like kaiju tropes, because like I don't ever want to see humans fighting kaiju. I want to see kaiju fighting kaiju. or just kaijus destroying a city. I don't want to see humans fighting them because they shouldn't be fighting them. They should be running away from them. When you look at the original Godzilla, for example, 3/4 of that movie is just Godzilla hanging out. It's not to the last like 45 minutes where he starts destroying the city. It's all about the human side. It's the human element. So,
which is the thing I appreciate about, I would say, quote unquote, serious kaiju films. You understand the seriousness of it all. I don't think this movie does the serious stuff particularly well. I mean, it knows it's a dumb action movie. Like, it knows that that's what it is. And so when I go to a dumb action movie, I want to see dumb action. And when you don't give me the dumbest part of the action until like the very, very end, I'm going to latch on to the dumb action because that's what I was promised. I was promised The Rock fighting a giant monster. And that's what the poster is. It's The Rock and a gorilla, and The Rock's got a giant gun, and it says in big letters, big meets bigger. I want to see big meet bigger. I want to see The Rock take on a monster.
So I think what we're touching on here is mainly the biggest flaw with video game movies, because I came into this movie knowing what Rampage is. I came into it knowing what to expect and what I was going to get. You came into it with absolutely no preconceived notions outside of what you saw on the poster and what you expect The Rock to be doing in an action movie. And you didn't like it, whereas I did. So I think that's the biggest problem with video game movie adaptations is you have the fans of the video game going, okay, I know what to expect more or less. I know they're going to adapt it. They're going to do something, but I know what to expect more or less. And then you have the general audience that doesn't know just shit. And they're just like, I don't know. The poster looks cool. Wait, this is based on a video game? So, I think this is the problem, is my bias is showing, I suppose. But I'll still defend this movie. I still think it has plenty good going for it. I think your opinions of what you want to see in a kaiju movie is not what I expected.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't go into every kaiju movie expecting that either. Like, I weigh my expectations based on the movie that I'm seeing. And now, am I expecting to go into like the 98 Godzilla? Did I go into that expecting to see Matthew Broderick like flying a helicopter into down Godzilla's throat? No, of course not. And I don't want to see that because I don't want to see Matthew Broderick do that. But it's The Rock. I mean, it's Bryan Cranston immediately after Breaking Bad, like playing the biggest BA in television history, Heisenberg. You want to see Heisenberg go toe-to-toe with Godzilla not because you think it's a compelling story move, just because you think it'd be freaking cool to see on a big screen. Did I expect it to happen? No. But did I kind of want it to happen? Absolutely. Just because that seems like that would be freaking awesome to see Heisenberg go toe-to-toe with Godzilla. Is he playing Heisenberg in that movie? No, of course he's not. He's playing a completely different character. So I'm not going to say that's my expectation of all kaiju movies. It was my expectation of this movie because it's a dumb action movie. And that's what the movie poster promised me, is The Rock fighting a giant monster. And you've got the stones to hand him a gun and say, go fight that giant lizard thing. And he does it. And he does it for your enjoyment, Brett, and for mine. And so for that, Mr. Dwayne Johnson, I salute you, sir.
And I can't, it's one of the things I can't get behind. I mean, I get it story-wise. I didn't like, there's part of me that liked it just because it was trying to show that like him and George working together. And that's kind of cool. I dig that story-wise. But is it really stupid that he's trying to fight a giant lizard that he knows he can't hurt with the weaponry he has? A little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. But again, that's when I feel like the movie is fully committing to the stupidity of the premise.
Sure.
I mean, and that's why that's why that for me was the transcendental moment, is because you're giving me what I expect, and that's what I wanted out of it. So I think expectation plays a role for sure.
Yeah.
And my expectation changes based on the movie that I'm watching. And I won't say that I expect a lot out of a kaiju movie because I don't really have enough experience with kaiju movies to say, well, this is what I want. But here's the thing. The kaiju movies that I have seen, for the most part, are some of the good ones. So like I have my points of comparison are like the original Godzilla, the original King Kong, Bong Joon-ho's The Host, Pacific Rim, Shin Godzilla. Those are very good kaiju movies. So when that's my point of comparison, then I'm probably going to be a little more critical.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not going to begrudge you that. I would just disagree with you.
Here's the thing. We disagree a lot.
We do.
And that's fine because it's okay to have differences of opinion.
It is.
As long as we talk about them like civilized adults and not like, animals flinging poo at each other on the internet, then we're fine. Yeah. And you and I know one another. At the end of the day, our opinions on a particular film are not going to be the end of our friendship. It might cause one of us not to talk to the other for a few days, but they will not be the end of our friendship.
Right. No, not that that's ever happened. I don't know what you're
talking
about.
Of course not. That would never happen. We're the two best friends that anyone could ever have.
Right. Hashtag two of a kind. One of a mine. Right.
Yeah, that's steak and fries, baby. Steak and fries.
Exactly.
Oh man, you made me remember that movie. How dare
you? The song's stuck in your head again, isn't it?
Yeah. Damn it. I just got it out too. I just got it out. You know what's a good song that will get that song stuck in your head? The theme song from Blossom, which was stuck in my head earlier this week for a reason I don't understand or don't know.
I haven't heard it in years, and I'm not going to go seeking it out for that reason.
It's a straight banger, my friend.
I don't want it stuck in my head.
It was in my head for 3 solid days, and you know what? Those were good 3 days.
That was a good there. Don't want it in there.
So yeah, Rampage, man. So we're going to be back next week talking about another kaiju movie. Whether you like it or not, hopefully you like it and stick around with us because we'll have fun. We should have a guest on next week as well.
Indeed. We will actually be having my wife on.
Hey!
Because, nepotism is a thing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're going to have Brett's wife on, and we're going to talk about another kaiju movie. And it's going to be great. And we've got another guest slated before the end of the month, if that, again, continues to work out. So, just when it works out for us to have a guest on, we'll have a guest on. It's not like we're trying to get a guest on for every episode, but, sometimes it's nice to hear other voices than just ours screaming out into the ether, perhaps. So,
yeah, I mean, most of the time, those people talk more than me. Yeah. So I'm almost a guest most of the time in those episodes. Like, let's be honest, I don't talk much in the guest episodes.
You just need to be a little more assertive, man. I mean, hey, this is my podcast, and I'm gonna take ownership of it.
Look, you know. And maybe some of the fans know I am a stickler for audio. And when people are doing a remote record like we do and talking over one another, nothing ticks me off more. So I wait for my moment to talk, and then I talk.
I can be a little more intentional about being. Brett, what do you have to say about this thing that we're talking about?
There is that.
When it's just the two of us, I just shut up, and then you know to pick up from there. But
and a lot of times you're good at reading the visual cues of when I want to say something. So
true.
So, there's that.
That helps as well.
Yeah.
At any rate, we hope you enjoyed our episode on 2018's Rampage. Are you quote Team Brett here? Or are you Team Steven here? Let us know. Tweeting at us at DisenfranchPod on Twitter. You can also find us at DisenfranchPod on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can shoot us an email, disenfranchpod@gmail.com. As of now, we're going on like month 3 of no one emailing us to let us know what failed franchise starter they want us to cover in 2021. So literally the first person that emails us, you know what? We probably won't even wait that long before doing it. We'll probably do it within like a couple of weeks because we're so excited someone emailed us. So email us. Let us know, please. disenfranchpod@gmail.com. If you are Team Brett, by the way, use the hashtag Team Brett, but also hashtag You Don't Know Rampage. So just to harken back to our early days at our Baywatch episode.
We'll go back to that old bit.
Yeah, that was a fun bit we abandoned for reasons I don't completely understand. But hey,
throwback, baby.
Yeah, hey, baby, love it. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Chewy Walrus. Chewy like the candy bar, Walrus like the animal. Brett, is it possible to find you on social media these days? And if so, where?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am back on Letterboxd. I've updated everything. You should be seeing the Rampage review up there as this episode drops, hopefully before, but you don't know that. But yeah, I'm up to date. I'm back. Some of the reviews are there. Maybe they're a sentence long. Doesn't matter.
I was going to say they're not long, but mine aren't very long usually either. So
no, but I'm back. I'm there. Hit me up.
Victory. at Gunslinger Fire there to find Brett on Letterboxd. Yes. So that's it. That's our Rampage episode. So this has been the Disenfranchised Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, for my co-host Brett Wright and myself. # You Don't Know Rampage.